You have been lied to for decades, and that lie is currently costing thousands of seniors their mobility, their independence, and ultimately, their lives. Every single morning, I see the same tragedy unfold on the sidewalks of suburban neighborhoods across America. I see dedicated, health-conscious men and women in their 60s and 70s, lacing up their cushioned sneakers, checking their expensive fitness trackers, and hitting the pavement for their daily walk. They believe, with all their heart, that they are investing in their future. But as a surgeon who has looked inside thousands of damaged knees and hips, I have to tell you a terrifying truth that the $300 billion fitness industry keeps hidden. For a body that has already weathered 6 or 7 decades of gravity, walking is not the cure-all panacea you think it is. In fact, without the right structural support, it can act like sandpaper on your cartilage, slowly grinding away the shock absorbers that keep your bones from colliding. You are being sold a myth that simply moving more is the answer, but in reality, specific biological mechanisms in your body have shut down over time, and walking alone cannot switch them back on. Today, we are going to stop this silent erosion of your joints. We are going to replace outdated advice with orthopedic precision. I am going to walk you through 5 specific, surgeon-verified movement patterns that do what walking cannot. They rebuild bone density, they rewire the connection between your brain and your feet, and they flood your system with the hormones necessary to reverse muscle wasting. This is not about becoming a bodybuilder. This is about structural engineering for the human machine. If you want to avoid the operating table and stay out of a nursing home, you need to listen very closely to what comes next, because the statistics regarding falls in this country are not just numbers, they are a warning siren. Let us begin with the 5th most critical movement, one that addresses a catastrophic design flaw in how we age. When we think about aging, we obsess over our legs giving out, but we completely ignore the landing gear. I am talking about your upper body. In the United States, falls are the leading cause of injury-related death for adults over 65. Now, think about the physics of a fall. When you trip over a rug or slip on an icy driveway, your legs have already failed you. Your last line of defense, the only thing standing between a bruised ego and a shattered hip, or a traumatic brain injury, is your ability to push your arms out and catch your own body weight. Yet, most seniors have allowed their chest, shoulders, and triceps to atrophy to the point where they are useless in an emergency. This is why the wall push-up with progressive resistance is not just an exercise, it is a survival skill. Standard floor push-ups are often impossible or dangerous for seniors due to wrist pressure and lower back strain, which is why the wall variation is the medical gold standard. It engages the pectoralis major, the anterior deltoids, and the triceps, but more importantly, it forces your core to act as a stabilizer, mimicking the exact tension you need to brace yourself during a sudden slip. To perform this correctly, and I want you to visualize this with me as if you are doing it right now, find a clear section of wall in your home. Stand about an arm's length away. Place your palms flat against the wall, exactly at shoulder height and shoulder width apart. Now, here is the nuance that makes it effective. Your body must remain as stiff as a plank. Do not let your hips sag forward like a hammock, and do not stick your backside out. Imagine a steel rod running from your heels to the top of your head. Slowly, and I mean painfully slowly, lower your chest toward the wall. Take 3 full seconds to go down. 1, 2, 3. As you lower yourself, you are eccentrically loading the muscles, which is the phase where the most strength is built. Stop when your nose is just an inch from the drywall. Pause. Then, push back explosively to the starting position. That explosive push is key, because it trains your fast-twitch muscle fibers, the ones responsible for reaction time. If you can do this easily, simply step your feet back 6 inches. By increasing the angle, you increase the gravitational load. I had a patient, let's call her Eleanor, who is 72. She couldn't lift her new grandson because her shoulders were too weak and painful. After just 6 weeks of doing these wall push-ups while waiting for her morning coffee to brew, she not only lifted the baby without pain but also regained the ability to place her heavy cast-iron skillet on the top shelf. That is what functional freedom looks like. Moving deeper into the physiology of independence, we arrive at number 4, a movement that is the absolute enemy of the assisted living facility. It is the chair squat with controlled tempo. I want you to be honest with yourself for a moment. Is there a split second of panic when you are sitting on a deep, soft sofa and you wonder if you can get up without grabbing the armrest or asking for a hand? That panic is the voice of your quadriceps dying. From the age of 50, if left untrained, your thigh muscles can lose up to 40% of their mass. This condition, known as sarcopenia, is the primary reason seniors lose their independence. The toilet, the car seat, the dining chair, these are the daily battles you are fighting. The chair squat is the antidote because it safely overloads these large muscle groups without the risk of a gym squat. This movement pumps massive amounts of blood into the largest muscles of the body, which has a secondary benefit for anyone watching who is managing prediabetes or insulin resistance. These muscles, when activated, become sponges for blood sugar. Here is the protocol for doing this safely. Place a sturdy chair behind you, one that won't slide. Stand in front of it with your feet hip-width apart and your toes turned out slightly, about 15 degrees. This foot position is crucial because it allows your femur to sit correctly in the hip socket and prevents your knees from caving inward, which destroys the meniscus. Cross your arms over your chest like a mummy. This eliminates the temptation to use momentum or swing your arms. Now, initiate the movement by pushing your hips back, not by bending your knees forward. Pretend you are trying to shut a car door with your backside. Lower yourself toward the chair on a count of 4. This slow descent is where the magic happens. It forces your brain to recruit every single motor unit in your legs to fight gravity. When your glutes lightly touch the chair, do not relax. Do not sit fully. Just tap it, and then drive through your heels to stand back up. Imagine you are pushing the floor away from the earth. If you do this daily, you are essentially buying yourself another decade of living in your own home. It is simple, it is safe, and it is non-negotiable for a healthy life. Now, let's address the invisible system that controls everything: your balance. Number 3 is single leg stands with sensory challenge. Most people think balance is something you either have or you don't, like blue eyes or curly hair. That is medically false. Balance is a skill, like playing the piano, and if you stop practicing, you forget how to do it. The reason you might feel unsteady when you walk on uneven grass or get out of the shower is that the communication lines between the proprioceptors, the sensors in your feet, and your brain have become static-filled and slow. Walking does not fix this because walking is a rhythmic, predictable motion. Your brain goes on autopilot. To fix balance, we must challenge it. We must make the brain uncomfortable. The single leg stand does exactly that. It recalibrates your vestibular system in the inner ear and forces the tiny stabilizing muscles around your ankles to wake up and fire. Stand next to your kitchen counter so you have a safety net. Lift one foot just an inch off the ground. Do not hook it behind your other leg. Just let it hover. Keep your standing knee soft, never locked. If you can hold this for 30 seconds, congratulations, You are doing better than average. But average is not our goal. Survival is. To truly vaccine-proof yourself against falls, you must close your eyes. When you shut your eyes, you remove the visual horizon your brain relies on. Suddenly, your inner ear and your foot sensors have to do 100% of the work. You will sway. You might feel like you are on a boat in a storm. That swaying is good. That is your brain frantically building new neural pathways to stabilize you. Research clearly shows that the ability to stand on one leg is a potent predictor of all-cause mortality. It sounds dramatic, but it is true. Better balance equals a longer life, because it prevents the hip fractures that start the downward spiral. Incorporate this into your day. Brush your teeth on one leg. Wash dishes on one leg. Make it a habit, and you will walk with a confidence you haven't felt in 20 years. We are getting closer to the most transformative exercises, but before we get to number 2, I want to ask you to do something for me. If this information is resonating with you, if you are realizing that you need to take control of your physical destiny, just tap that like button. It helps us spread this life-saving message to other seniors who are currently struggling. Now, let's talk about the silent epidemic of text neck and the senior hunchback. Exercise number 2 is resistance band rows. Look around you at the grocery store. You see it everywhere. The head jutting forward, the shoulders rounded, the upper back curved into a C shape. This is called hyperkyphosis. It is not just ugly, it is dangerous. When you slump forward, you compress your rib cage. Your lungs cannot fully expand, which means your body gets less oxygen. Less oxygen means less energy, more brain fog, and a weaker heart. Plus, that forward weight pulls your center of gravity off, making you significantly more likely to fall forward. Walking does absolutely nothing to fix this. In fact, if you walk while looking down at your feet, you are making it worse. To reverse this, we need to strengthen the posterior chain, the muscles of your upper back that have been stretched and weakened by years of driving, cooking, and sitting at computers. You need a simple resistance band. Loop it around a doorknob or a sturdy banister at chest height. Step back until there is tension on the band. Stand tall, chest proud. Now, pull the handles toward your rib cage, keeping your elbows close to your body. As you pull back, I want you to visualize cracking a walnut between your shoulder blades. Squeeze that area hard and hold it for 2 seconds. This isometric squeeze tells your brain, "This is where my shoulders belong." Relieve the tension slowly. This exercise strengthens the rhomboids and the lower trapezius muscles, which act as guy wires, pulling your spine back into vertical alignment. When your posture improves, you don't just look 10 years younger. You function better. Your digestion improves because your stomach isn't compressed. Your mood improves because an upright posture is linked to higher serotonin levels. You are literally pulling yourself out of the slump of old age. And finally, we arrive at the number 1 exercise, the movement that orthopedic surgeons and neurologists agree is the closest thing we have to a fountain of youth. It is not lifting heavy weights, and it is not running marathons. It is Tai Chi. I know you might be thinking, isn't that just for people in the park moving in slow motion? Yes, and those people in the park are rewiring their brains in ways that science is only just beginning to understand. A landmark study from Harvard Medical School declared Tai Chi to be medication in motion. Unlike walking, which is repetitive, Tai Chi is complex. It involves shifting your weight, rotating your torso, coordinating your hands and eyes, and deep rhythmic breathing, all simultaneously. This multitasking forces your brain to generate new gray matter in the hippocampus, the area responsible for memory and learning. It is a dual-threat weapon. It protects your body from falls by improving proprioception. And it protects your mind from dementia by keeping your neural networks dense and active. The beauty of Tai Chi is that it lowers cortisol. We live in a world of chronic stress, and high cortisol eats away at muscle tissue and bone density. Tai Chi activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and repair mode. It is gentle on the joints. There is no pounding, no impact. In Japan, hospitals use these movement patterns to rehabilitate seniors immediately after surgery because it restores flow and function without inflammation. You don't need to be a master to start. Simply stand with your feet wide, shift your weight to one leg, turn your waist, and let your arms float through the air like you are moving through water. The slowness is the secret. It requires immense control to move slowly. It builds a deep internal strength that is far more functional than the superficial strength you get from gym machines. By practicing these movements, you are integrating everything we have talked about: strength, balance, posture, and breath into one seamless flow. So, here is the reality check. The world creates seniors who are fragile, fearful, and dependent on medication. But that does not have to be your story. You have the tools right now to change the trajectory of your aging. You can choose to continue simply walking and hoping for the best. Or you can choose to engineer a body that lasts. Start with the wall push-ups tomorrow morning. Try the single leg stand while you wait for the kettle to boil. Pick one thing and master it. Your body is incredibly resilient. It is just waiting for the right signals. Give it the stimulus it needs, and it will reward you with years of active, joyful living. Do not wait for a diagnosis to start moving correctly. Start today, because your future self is counting on you.